Lane, towards the end of practice there, it looked like there was a little good-natured jawing going on between your offensive and defensive coaches. You kind of had to run over there in the middle of. What does that say about the intensity so far of this fall camp?
I think it's been good. Got a couple of new coaches and, guys just feeling each other out, and I don't mind that. We create a competitive atmosphere. Just got to have a line of respect also, just like we tell our players, and coaches are the same. So, plus we have an issue that our defensive coaches have whistles. So during team, they blow the whistle when they want. So we're going to fix that.
I know it's hard to tell too much about defense without the full pads on, but just through these first 5 or 6 practices so far, what are you seeing from the growth of that whole unit?
Well, I feel like it's a more mature group, but part of that is because they've had a spring now. So, remember last year at this time, it's our first time working with them. They could barely line up. So I'm very pleased by that. We got a lot of guys that look like they can play, from a physical standpoint. So now I got to see if they can.
I know it's only been 5 or 6 practices, but have there been any surprises or standouts in your eyes so far on offense or defense?
I don't know really to single out surprises. I've mentioned before we got a lot of young defensive backs that are in the mix. Offensively, a couple new slots, and Pearson, the Western Kentucky kid, has done a good job. And a walk-on kid, Vincent, that's a freshman. So, good to see to create some competition.
We've watched Kincaid and Luke kind of float back and forth with that second unit so far this week. And I know it's way too early to tell what's going to happen there, but what are you looking for? Who's got to do what to emerge?
Well, it's a competitive, competition, and Kincaid's got majority of the reps with the twos. Luke's gotten some as we progress a little bit more, and so we're looking for someone to manage the offense really well and get to the level. So if they go in the game, we don't have to change anything. So hopefully they'll both do it.
Hey, Lane, I noticed that John Rice wasn't doing some things late in practice. Was that an injury, and then just kind of in general, what's the health of your team after a week?
Well, I think like normal in our practice format, our skilled guys, especially DBs and receivers, struggle just because of the amount of yardage, in our practice plan. And that's on purpose because we got to get everybody work. And so, he got, a little worn down there, minor injury, and he should be fine. But as far as long-term injuries, we're doing well.
What do you see as Braylon's role in this offense this year? I know he was kind of a deep threat towards the end of last year, but stepping in as kind of more of a number one. What do you see from him?
Well, I think Braylon can play all over the place. I think he's extremely talented. If he had a good year from a height, weight, speed, ball skill standpoint, he's a potential first-round draft pick. So, and you saw the explosive plays he made a year ago, just didn't have that many opportunities with injuries and other situations. So look for him to have a really big year.
Behind Darian, are you looking for a defined pecking order with Parrish and Connor? Is it going to be situational? We talked with Levy a little bit about it a couple of days ago. How do you kind of see that?
Well, it's not behind Ely. There's open competition there. Henry has had a really good since he's been here. It just took a while to get on the field and learning stuff last year. So, it's not like it's Ely and then everybody else. This is open competition, and have 5 scholarship guys there that all have done really good things through the first week.
We understand you guys are going to scrimmage this weekend. Can you tell us exactly, what that's going to consist of and what you're looking for out of that first real scrimmage of camp?
Well, I don't know how much we'll tackle in that. But we need some to figure out our defensive players and offensive players too. But, we'll be looking to see how, players play in that setting. It's the closest thing we can create to a game. And, try to make it competitive and try to figure out everybody doesn't play like they practice. So see how much we can learn.
You've talked a lot about the importance of having a full year this year instead of last year. Are you 100% installed at this point, or are you kind of still working on teaching the guys what they need to know?
No, we're still installing. Today was red zone, so we still have other situations, short yardage, goal line, 4 minute, 2 minute. So we're just really through the basics of our offense and defense right now.